Entertainment has been quite in the highlights this week.
Entertainment.
Yeah, I see you. You're on the news this morning. You've got newsreels coming up.
Yep.
And then you've got Matisyahu was a big story this week.
That's right.
With the whole beard situation.
The whole beard situation.
So what do you say? What's your take on it?
Matisyahu's beard?
Yeah.
It's off.
Yeah.
First of all, who am I to talk? Because I don't have a beard. But actually, what's funny is that
actually, I saw a website there playing Pin the Beard on Matisyahu. So they have this whole thing over there. So we could make like a second one, Pin the Beard on Eli Gerstner.
Right, exactly. No, I was actually thinking about, I told you, growing a beard just so that I can shave it off. Because I think
that would be
newsworthy. Like, I'll get on the news again. It'll be awesome.
You'd have like every news channel talking about it.
Shave it. That's it. And I'll grow it again the next week. We'll do that as a news piece. My take of it, I don't really know Matisyahu that well, but from the times that I did meet him, I thought he was a great guy and an erlich guy. He was always backstage, saying Tehillim, or, just seemed like always a nice, sweet guy and an erlich guy, really, erlich from guy, and I hear stories. I know my sister was doing kiruv in some camp somewhere, somewhere in America, and they called up the camp if they can get a couple of guys, some of the husbands, to make a minyan for Matisyahu because he was doing a show there or something. I mean, that's tough. You go somewhere in Hubbardsville and there's no minyan, and you want to daven shacharis, you daven in your hotel room. You know what I'm saying? And he's looking for a minyan. So I have all that in my head, and then you have the people that are saying, "What do you mean, shave his beard? He must be going for derech." So I mean, it's tough for a guy like me that knows that about him, that he's a great guy. Like, why shaving his beard, So I hear both sides, but I'm sure, I'm very happy to see that Matisyahu wrote, after he tweeted,
still went to shul.
Still went to the mikvah, still went to shul, and he's just, like he said, like he's finding himself. My Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Rucham Shein Shlita, there was once this guy in yeshiva that was a Malchuva, and he was so makbid with everything. Like, if a guy came late to Shachris, he would beat him up. He'd go to the far end. Like, you missed Shachris, you spoke after Baruch Shamar, and like, you slap him, And guys in Yeshiva were really
scared of him,
and they went to Rosh Yeshiva, and the Rosh Yeshiva gave a little schmooze. He didn't say his name. He said, sometimes somebody would, if you have a piece of paper, and the piece of paper gets bent to one side completely, the only way to get the paper straight is if you put the paper all the way to the other end, fold it, and then it'll snap back in the middle. He says sometimes guys take it to the far, far end and go all the way out when they become from, and then they sort of like
mellow back.
Okay, this is where I find myself as a firm person, and that's that. So, that's sort of like what I'm getting the feel of what Matisyahu did. That he. And
people ask you, like, from your standpoint, from not having a beard, how do you?
Right. Yeah. I got a couple of those questions that So like how come it's okay that you don't have a beard? So I mean, again, obviously there's minhagim. Obviously everybody has their minhagim, and
each person has their machalach,
their own thing that they do or they don't do. Listen, in general, obviously someone that accepts something on themselves as a thing, then it's a lecha for them. So I mean, everybody has their. Happens not to be my minhag for generations before. I don't know the last time that I've heard someone had a beard in my family, but again, everybody has their thing. Listen, I decided I'm putting a gartel on, and with my talis, I put my gartel on with me. You're not going to find me taking that gartel off. That's something now that's a part of what I do. It's a minhag that I accept upon myself, which I plan on passing down to my children. So again, that's. I'm not going to the far end of anything and coming right snapping back. I am who I am. Baruch Hashem, I'm happy with that.
So when you shave off your beard, you're waiting for the publicity, huh?
Right. I'm going to do it after Sefira.
Ah, okay.
I'm waiting for Sefira, grow the beard, and then I'm going to actually come here, if you don't mind.
And we'll do a live filming of the shaving.
Live filming of the shaving. It's going to be crazy.
So we got YBC Live 4 now.
Mm-hmm.
And
can I compliment you on this comfy little couch you got here?
Yeah.
This is
Very Hamish.
Very Hamish. I got it. I like it. It's good.
So you got YBC Live 4, and then you have this whole new deal going on with Universal.
Right.
Which is you're taking an album which is already out by EG Productions and you're putting it under a Universal label. That when you were in yeshiva, people weren't listening to Jewish music.
Right. Yeah, I was in Adelphia, like I said before, and most of the kids that I was with and I spoke to, and I was the only one blasting Jewish music in the dorm room, and everybody else was listening to non-Jewish music. Not everybody else, but definitely a majority. And whenever I tried to sell Jewish music to them, like, hey, listen to this, listen to that, all the brass and the horns, and like they were just.
What years are we talking about, if I can ask?
Yeah.
Going back to
in the 50s, 40s.
50s, 40s, yeah.
Yeah, someone just said I look really good for 50.
Ah.
So I was like, really? I'm going to be 32 soon. I better look good for 50 if I'm going to be 32 soon.
Yes, definitely.
So I graduated in 1997. So, whatever, 93 to 97, 94 to 97, that's my high school years.
So,
not that long ago.
During that time, what was out then? Who was out? What was hot
Daddy
then?
was huge. Daddy was huge. Not physically. I mean, no, but he was really big. He was really huge. Daddy was huge. And then, obviously, the greats. Matcha and Fried, obviously, were very big.
That was before the music rush.
Actually, that was when my uncle Shirley Wooliger came out with his first album, and he was also really big, and Mendy Wall was coming out then. So there was a selection
then.
It was very hot, and every single CD that came out, I got it. Every CD, every cassette, anything that came out with Jewish music on it, I bought it, and I loved everything.
And yet, people still weren't listening so much to music, to Jewish music.
I just remember there was nothing. I remember trying to sell it to people, trying to sell them my idea of like, but this is great. Don't you feel this? This is amazing. I remember when Aish 1 came out. I was already a little older.
A.B. Rottenberg.
Yeah. And there was a song, Habait.
Yeah.
I remember listening to it, I was like, my heart like broke. I was like so emotionally involved in the song. I remember like
it's on my like hot playlist, yeah
I
still.
remember like playing it to people. I remember like, hey, guys, listen to this song. Sit down, close your eyes, listen to this song. It's gorgeous, and and like it's just like
people looking like you fell off the moon.
Jewish music, So then then the crazy story happened. When I wrote my first song, I was 15 years old, and kids in my class and kids in my yeshiva were interested in hearing my stuff only because I was their buddy.
Yeah.
I wasn't Jewish music. I was Eli Gerstner from yeshiva.
Yeah.
All right, let's do him a favor and listen to him. And slowly but surely, the songs caught on in yeshiva, and they started liking it. And they started going for it, and and I said, okay, my music I'm gonna try to capture what they're missing somehow. Somehow try to get them to enjoy whatever they're saying. They're saying, okay, it's too many horns. Okay, so I'll take the horns out. If that's what's bothering you, I'll take the horns out. What bothers you exactly? The fact that we were at the time Jewish music was more. We were like 20 years behind. We were like everything was very 70s style, old cold disco music, and the horns and the way the bass was playing their riffs and stuff like that.
And I'm like checking out this new YBC Live. You've got this like remix of Shemai, and it's like that one, that tune, that. Yeah, that's like I don't know. We're jumping into the future already.
We're jumping. We're just doing things like I don't want to lose the kids. Every generation, every few years, I'm realizing even like I remember Chevra was banned when I first came out with Chevra. We were banned in every yeshiva. We couldn't do any shows without our yeshivas calling me saying we're not letting people go to your shows. Now Chevra's like yeshivish music. Like you can listen to Yehei and all that stuff in the beginning. I mean, Mordechai and David CD is full of that.
They're happy. They're happy if you're listening.
Lipa. Yeah, I mean everybody's doing that style now. It's sort of like So then what happens? Then you have people saying, "Oh, it's just Jewish music." Like, so you don't want to lose those kids. We're not even doing this for like. So in Yeshiva Boys Choir, I try to keep that line. I keep trying to say like, I don't want to go a little bit too far and have, parents then saying, oh, I don't want my children to listen to this. I want very positive that it should be, that it should be today,
as far to the edge as possible.
It shouldn't be too much, But then there are groups like the Chevra album, like Chevra, which I think broke that ground. That it reached so many people till today. I mean, in Eretz Yisrael, I mean, I see royalty checks. I'm telling you, I know, I see what's going on. Yehei is still being played on the radio in Eretz Yisrael in the Fry stations, in all the non-firm stations, and they're still playing Yehei today. So it's 12 years later, whatever it is.
It's still a
10 years,
classic.
11 years later, and still being played. I know that it's like, how's the song? Yehei Shalom Rabban Shammai. It's in Aramaic. It's not even in Hebrew.
Yeah.
And it's asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu for peace. And you have 20,000 people that are non-from in a soccer stadium. I still remember. I saw a video clip of it years ago.
You didn't know about it when they were doing. You didn't know they were doing it.
No, there's like, I don't know, close to 100,000 people. I think it was all sitting around there singing Yehei with a big banner. Yehei Shalom Rabban Shammai. Like,
Wow.
That's like, okay, so that's why I did it. And then I believe because of the right intentions, I think that's why it Baruch Hashem blew up the way it did. And I think that with the right intentions, things you have a tzlacha with the right intentions, I believe.